Well, good morning. I'm Daniel Dalp, and this is For Your Sunday Morning Drive, a short podcast with the goal of putting you in a Colossians 3:2 mindset and providing you with motivation, drive, and encouragement on those hectic Sunday mornings. We are brought to you in partnership with the Ministry League network of podcasts. Ministry League has a goal of providing free resources and great podcasts to the Brotherhood. And if you're interested in checking out any of these resources or other shows on the network, please download their app or check out ministryleague.com. Well, it's officially our 1-year anniversary of when the first episode of the show was dropped. And I kinda can't believe that we've lasted this long. And I certainly can't believe that some of you have hung around and listened to 53 of these things. But seriously, for those of you who have listened from episode 1, and for all of those who have joined somewhere along the way, let me say a most sincere thank you. I really hope this little show has been an encouragement, because that's what it's always been about. And I really hope to be doing this for a long time to come. That being said, if you do want to help celebrate this milestone with me, give us a share with a friend. The more the merrier, and I certainly hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Well, I think that about ties everything up for today. Let's go ahead and get the show on the road. This is episode 53, an uncomfortable episode. Let's go to church.
Are we there yet?
So, today marks 1 year of this little show being in existence. Well, that's exciting. Originally, I thought about doing something special to commemorate that milestone, but honestly, that just isn't what the show's about. It's about worship and preparing for worship, and it's about our God. But in thinking about what I wanted to do for our episode today, I thought about when I first started the podcast. And I went back and forth for weeks on if I should or shouldn't start it, if it was going to be beneficial, and if it was something that I would be comfortable putting out there for people to listen to. And the answer is no. I wasn't comfortable. And because I wasn't comfortable, I do what I always do, which is make a laundry list of excuses not to do something. I wasn't knowledgeable enough. The Brotherhood doesn't need another podcast. No one will listen. What if it just inflates my ego? What if it's a huge waste of time? What if other people hate my voice as much as I do? I don't know how to edit, and the excuses went on and on. But amid the many excuses that I made, and I guess in spite of them, I'm glad I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. Because when we push ourselves, cool things happen. It reminds me of a teacher that I had. It was either in high school or in college, and I can't remember who it was, but I always remembered their advice. I had, and still do have, a tough time studying and focusing on things with which I am not terribly passionate about or interested in. So when it was time for me to do my schoolwork, I did the conventional thing. I gathered all my notes in my computer and my homework, and I went to get in that comfy, oversized chair that was in my bedroom. And I found I just couldn't focus. I've always had trouble studying or doing anything that requires quiet concentration, like writing a sermon or typing up the outline for this episode. But anyway, this teacher's advice was make yourself uncomfortable. He told me not to go and sit in the most comfortable place in the house, but to go sit at the dining room table in an uncomfortable wooden chair and get to work. And while I didn't always take his advice, when I did, it worked like a charm. Now, I have looked all over the internet, and I cannot find any research-based evidence to support this claim. But my own anecdotal evidence, it works for me. When I was uncomfortable, it forced me to do something that I didn't normally do. And that wasn't a bad thing. And I think that applies to the church as well. We're the same way. In Acts 8, 1-4, following the death of Stephen, Scripture tells us that Saul was in hearty agreement with putting him to death. And on that day, a great persecution began against the church in Jerusalem, and they were all scattered throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria except for the apostles. Some devout men buried Stephen and made loud lamentation over him, but Saul began ravaging the church, entering house after house, and dragged them off, men and women, and he would put them in prison. Therefore, those who had been scattered went about preaching the word. Now, I'm not comparing discomfort to persecution of the saints, but I think if we scale it down, being uncomfortable is not a bad thing. Because of great persecution, the church went out and preached the word. And if persecution did that, then think about what a little discomfort is capable of doing for us. And I guess that's kind of my encouragement for you today, after 1 year. What could you accomplish for the Lord if you got out of your comfort zone? What if you did that one project or started that one ministry that you've always wanted to? What if we realize that if we try something out of our comfort zone and it doesn't work out, then really the worst that happens is that God gets the glory? What if? I'm really glad that I got out of my comfort zone and started this little show, and I really hope that you are too. And I also hope that this episode makes you just a little bit uncomfortable. Because friends, when the Lord's people get uncomfortable, cool things can happen. You can do it. I know you can. Because if I can do it, anyone's capable. Well, those are my thoughts for your Sunday morning drive. Now it's time to hear yours. Our discussion questions for this week are: have you allowed yourself to become comfortable and complacent? What is something you've always wanted to try for the Lord that might be outside of your comfort zone? And what are you going to do about it this week to push towards that goal? And lastly, what prevents us from being uncomfortable in our service to the King?